Does anyone know what this is called? Is it hinge? Is it a plate? Something about it says it's a plate to me, but I've tried looking online and I can't find anything. Um, I'm asking for a friend who works from home, friend who got very, very cold about this time a week ago and thought, I know, I'm gonna sit at my desk with a big old duvet wrapped around me. No one will see me. I don't have any calls today. It won't impact my ability to work. I'll just be warm. Wrapped myself in a little duvet, went to slide on over, shuffle on over onto the desk chair and start working. Something shifted, and instead of that, found myself nearly shuffling off this mortal coil as it all collapsed underneath me. Not the chair's fault. So I want to fix it. It would be very easy to say, oh, it's only £17, just buy a new one. But why? Why? If you can fix it. I've temporarily just bashed it a bit because it's a little bit bent. I don't know whether you can see. Temporarily just bashed it, but it really needs properly straightening out, and I feel like when I do that it's going to make it brittle and possibly snap. So I just want to have a replacement piece ready. So if anyone knows what this is called or where I can get one, doesn't really matter if it's green, I can paint over it. I would be, yeah, just let me know, because metalwork was not on my fix it bingo card for this year, but nothing that breaks ever is. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Amy and I'm challenging myself to buy nothing new for 2025. Trying to keep stuff out of landfill, trying to take tiny, seemingly inconsequential actions that I can control in the face of a really, really scary climate emergency. There's loads of other things that I'm doing that anyone can do, but this is my corner of the internet where I'm just gonna focus on the tangible and hopefully save myself money and, you know, make my life better by extension, not having so much stuff, taking more care of my stuff. It's all going to add up. I've been thinking a lot about setting goals in relation to this challenge, and I'm a busy working mum. I fortunately only work part-time, but the other 3-4 days a week, including weekends, I'm looking after a toddler, so I don't have massive amounts of spare time. And over the Christmas period, I read this amazing book called Wintering by Catherine May, and I'm not new to this bandwagon. It's been out for years, I think, and several people have recommended it to me. But this book talks about how we respond to winter, and it really made me think about this idea of setting goals, you know, for New Year's resolutions, and the pressure we put on ourselves in the darkest, coldest, grisliest time of year, where everything else in nature is just fast asleep and just resting. We're socializing more, we're putting pressure on ourselves. January comes, no more nice food, no more enjoyment in life. Cut everything out. Let's stop doing fun and really knuckle down and hustle. And I just don't want to anymore. I'm just done with the hustle. So I was reading this book and it's incredible. Get it from your local library because you don't have to buy something new. If you want to support the author, that's great. There are plenty of independent bookshops, but you can also rent it from your local library and authors get proceeds as a result of that. And I thought about this in relation to this challenge and in relation to just being a bit more sustainable with goal setting this year in general. I really want to account for the fact that there are fluctuations. The tendency normally is to set maybe a monthly goal. You get an illness, you get a busy weekend, you get family coming to stay, you get hormonal fluctuations, like you lose a weekend or two out of that month and then you're completely derailed. And then as part of this process, I discovered the Winter of Care and Repair challenge over on Instagram, and I'll link it down below. And I loved the idea. So this is a challenge that's sort of self-determined. You can set your own goals as to what it means for you. there are a lot of people using it to guide their sustainability efforts, but a lot of people are using it for kind of self-care and more mindful living in other ways. But the challenge runs from the winter solstice until the spring equinox. So one whole season, winter. And I love that idea. I love the idea of tuning back into the seasons the way animals do, the way we used to before artificial lights and, you know, screens and computers and everything, and alarm clocks dictated everything. So setting goals for a whole season instead of just some arbitrary calendar month that doesn't really mean anything, and is very easily derailed. So with all that to say, I am going to try and set some loose mending targets for winter, for what's left of winter. It's middle of January now, so I've already missed a couple of weeks, but I was enjoying time with my family. I was resting. You need it. What I also read over the Christmas break is this incredible book, Modern Mending. Again, I got it from my library. It's free. It keeps the libraries open because the more that they use them, the more people use them, the more they can justify their budget. So if you want books, really consider using your library. You can get ebooks as well. I'm a big library fan. This book is Modern Mending from Erin Lewis Fitzgerald. I think she's based in Australia. And it's amazing. It goes through all the techniques you might need for different kind of mends, and some examples as well, some inspiration. Talks about the materials that you'll need for different types of fabrics, that kind of thing. And I devoured this book. It was just incredible. And using this, I planned my mends for the next few months until the middle of March, I think the equinox is. I'm not going to stop on the eve of the equinox. This is a fluid challenge for the whole month, but roughly that's where we're aiming for. One really lovely thing about this book is it really encouraged me to think about grouping skills together and grouping types of mend. And one thing it did definitely make clear to me was that I find the idea of mending knitwear quite daunting. So that's going to be next winter, I think. I've already planned the goals for next winter, Winter of Care and Repair 2025. And hopefully I'll feel a bit more competent in my mending skills and I can tackle some of these jumpers that are looking a bit shabby. But for 2024, January, February till middle of March, here's what's on the list. Immediately going against what I just said about theming my mends, because this is a completely different fabric to all the others, completely different technique. This is a jersey jumpsuit, and it's got somewhere along here, it's got some holes that need mending around the thigh here. It's got worn away. This jumpsuit was secondhand when I bought it, but it was in really good condition. I wear things heavily. I don't have a massive rotation of clothes, so I wear them heavily. And I got chunky thighs, so they wore here. Most of my clothes do. I'm going to try some kind of patch, and I think I might patch it with an old pair of like pants that are a similar colour. I'll have to be careful how I show that on here, or it'll send me down a totally different algorithm on the internet. But that's an interesting stretchy mend that I'm excited to try, mostly because I really want to wear this jumpsuit again. It's so comfy and just goes with everything. Next, coats, because I do not have a suitable winter coat. My son has 3 because he's in between sizes, and and someone bought him one, and they're warm and they're waterproof and they're always suitable. And we go for a walk and I wear either a cardigan and a scarf or just something completely inappropriate. It doesn't have a hood. I've got a woolen coat, but it's not waterproof. So focus here. This coat, she's been with me since I was 18, since I joined university. I went on a bit of an adventure for charity, and I needed a proper hiking coat, so my dad bought me this. and she's been through loads of adventures. When I'm doing the mending video, I'll share some of the stories and maybe some pictures. Basically, the zip just broke. The only thing that she couldn't handle was a weekend away at a music festival, and the zip just broke. Annoyingly, it was just the zip pull. The whole zip is intact, but I don't know whether I can get a replacement, or I didn't know whether I could get a replacement zip pull. So I just bought a replacement zip. I bought this years ago and signed up to a course on how to replace zips, and then the course was postponed, and then I couldn't make the next date, and then I lost the zip. And you know what happens in life, like things just get pushed back and back and back. I have all the best intentions, but this January or February might be the month that this zip gets replaced and this coat becomes functional again. And it's so warm and it's so waterproof, and I love it. Coat number 2. This one was a really cheap coat. It was from a supermarket, I think. There's nothing special about it. It's one of these plasticky parkas, but it has a detachable fleecy lining, which I really like. And it's just a really easy wearing coat. And it deserves, just because it was cheaper, doesn't mean it doesn't deserve to be restored. I think there's a few fixes that need to be done on this one. Mostly, I think because it was such like a cheap plasticky material, the cuffs are falling apart. So I think I need to cover them with something, some kind of binding, or just make some new cuffs. This book suggests waterproofing materials with fabric laminating glue gel. So I need to investigate where I can get some of that from. And I'm going to either just cover the edge, or they're quite long. So I did contemplate just fully folding the cuff over and then making like a contrast cuff that was much bigger, like a statement. And what I also thought I might do is do it along the bottom and do a bit of a craftivism message, some kind of craftivism embroidery on the bottom. So when I'm doing, you know, the school run or the dog walk, my coat is telling people that this has been mended and that they should consider it too, because it's fun. My question with this, and if anyone wants to contribute, that would be great, because I'm really indecisive. My question is whether to do a completely contrasting colour, like a yellow or an orange or something, or to, and this is all, I've got tons of fabric, I'll go through my stash, or to use a similar kind of navy blue colour, blend it a bit more, maybe one that's got a bit of like a texture to it, so it blends in a bit more but still looks nice and interesting. And then there are a few buttonhole things that need fixing. The attachment for the fleecy lining, I think a few buttons have popped off, but that'll be quite easy. This one I think will take me a bit longer because I need to think about it. I'll do the other coat first and then work my way up to this one. Coat number 3. There's a theme. This one's not mine, but it is the one that I've been wearing the most in the really, really cold weather, because I just said I don't have any others. I think it's some kind of ski jacket, and it is so warm, but I broke the zip again. This was handed down to my husband from someone else. I don't know whether it was secondhand to them, but it's at least secondhand to him. So it's had a good life already, but there's nothing wrong with the coat itself, so we'll keep going. This one I think needs a full zip replacement because it's losing some teeth. I don't know how much you can see here. I might have to contrast it against my forehead and then zoom in. That'll be flattering on the internet. Hopefully the zip, if I do the pink one first, hopefully that one will be really easy, though it's sewing black on black and no one enjoys that. And then if I've got some time and I'm feeling a bit fancy, the logo is fraying, so I might do some satin stitch, trim away all the loose ones and do some satin stitch just to refresh the logo. Feel pretty confident in my ability with that, but stitching takes time, so we'll see how far I get. Those are the 4 sewing projects, and then I'm gonna go a bit rogue. It's probably not rogue. Not much about my life is rogue. I'm putting this on the table to protect it before I show you. 1, 2, 3 pairs of shoes. I don't know how to make shoes. I don't know how to repair shoes. Some of them are a specialist subject. So I'm going to talk you through my thought process. These ones were very expensive. I didn't pay for them. I was given them when I spoke at a conference a few years ago as a gift from a sponsor. I'm not going to show you the brand because I don't think they're one I want to promote. But I think they retail for about £250 new. Like that would be understandable if they were an incredibly ethical company and they paid living wages and they sourced their materials from a transparent supply chain. As far as I'm aware, they do not. So the price tag seems a bit steep. Like anything, you pay for a designer label, you're not necessarily paying for the additional quality or the additional ethics and transparency. So I wouldn't buy them new, but I do want to keep them because they're very comfy. The soles on them though, it's going to be trickier to hide the branding. The soles on them are ruined. I've tried to stick them down a few times, but where I've been wearing these for probably 6 years or something every winter, and I live in them. But can you see they're wearing down really unevenly? So I've gone to a cobbler, Timpson's, and I've told them about it, and they've said that 9 times out of 10 they can fix this type of sole. It's one of those thicker, wobbly soles. I'm probably giving it away now. And they said 9 times out of 10 they can fix it. But I've done a bit of research and it's not going to be cheap. There's always the question, isn't there, whether it's worth fixing something when it is cheaper to buy new. In this case, it's not cheaper to buy new. Maybe if I got a second-hand pair, but in this case, the value of replacing this boot like for like is far, far higher than replacing them. So I am going to wait till payday and I'm going to treat myself and I'm going to see if I can get these repaired, because if it gives me another like 5-6 years of wear out of them, it'll be worthwhile. These ones were pretty cheap. I think they were from one of these outlet shops, and you know, in the spring, I think I bought them for my hen party because I was told just to dress pretty casual. So I got like a long maxi midi dress. It was a midi dress, but they're maxi on me, and then white trainers, and I love that look. Spring comes round and I go from the fluffy boots into these transition shoes before I go into flip-flops for the rest of the year. So I want to fix them, but they obviously need a clean, but I can do that myself. They obviously have the backs worn because I'm a terrible person and I don't always undo the laces. It's also missing a button at the back, but I feel like that's pretty fixable. And the thing that maybe would need professional assistance, but because of the way these are worn relatively evenly, I think I can just, don't put that on the internet, I'll hide that. Because of the way these are worn, they're relatively even. And as far as I understand it, the problem with resoling shoes yourself, other than that it just maybe not working or making it worse, is if there's an unevenness in the wear, then it can cause foot and ankle issues, which I obviously don't want to have. But because I wore these so infrequently, because the soles were really thin and that they wore out almost immediately, I think I can just add replacement soles to them, and we'll try. Some of these fixes might be failures, and then I'll have to reassess and whether I want to then, whether the shoes are worth taking to a cobbler's again to outsource to a professional. But I think I'm going to give this one a go. And then, last but not least, these slippers. I inherited these slippers from someone who got a new pair for Christmas, and by extension, I got a new pair for Christmas. They need a wash. Like, I can do that. They can probably go in the washing machine. I don't know what the general consensus is on that, but I think slippers probably fine to have a little wash on a gentle cycle. The only repair they need, this one's completely fine structurally. The only repair they need is this back piece of the one shoe. It's just collapsed a bit inside. So I'm gonna try, I think I'm gonna try and pack it with something. Maybe like some, my head's saying expanding foam. Is that a stupid idea? It's a messy idea. Maybe something sturdy, like some polystyrene. But it basically needs packing and then sealing back up. I think you can get rubber cement or some kind of rubber glue. That shouldn't be a problem. It really doesn't seem like a major fix to me. If anyone's got any ideas, by the way, of any of these things, if anyone is watching me talk about this and thinking, you have not got the foggiest clue what to do, have you? No, I don't. But they would only go to landfill if I hadn't tried to save them. So I might as well give it a go. But if anyone has repaired a pair of slippers before or has found a particularly good resource that would help me, please, please, please drop it below. I would love to hear it. I am not an expert, but I'm going to try. So we've got 3 pairs of shoes, 3 coats, and a jumpsuit. And I might not get through it all, but what is a goal if not something to aim for? And what is a review video at the end of that period if not a chance to assess whether your goals were too lofty or not? Those of you who are joining along with the challenge, I really want to know what you're focusing on, how you're setting your goals. Are you setting goals, or are you just working through, this is my sort of ongoing mending pile? Are you just kind of working through top to bottom, seeing what is the most holy, or maybe doing the smaller bits first and then working your way up? I really want to know how you're approaching the challenge, and any tips, any advice, any just well wishes, please, please, please drop them below. If you like this video, then tell me. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, all the things that the algorithm loves. Tell me what you want to see and I will try and make it happen. My goal with this channel is to build a community. I want to get to know you, who you are, what you're trying to save from landfill, what efforts you're making in a world that makes you feel like it is not worth your time, but it absolutely is. And the more we do it together, the more it'll feel like it's worthwhile and fun. Because remember, fixing your stuff, that's climate action.